Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and just want to talk to you a little bit about how to evolve in your training. And from a very practical sense, this means, like I've always talked about, you start with a structure. You start with a structure, how to train. You start with a program. Like say you start doing your big 3 lifts, like you train the chest, the back, the legs, you're doing deadlifts, you're doing bench presses, you're doing your squats, you know, the standard powerlifting / power bodybuilding type thing. But then at some point in your training, you start to realize your body's developing a certain way. Maybe you're, even though you're doing, it seems to be a pretty balanced type of training program, you may notice that your body starts to develop imbalances. Like say, maybe you're way stronger in the front, or maybe your shoulders are rolled forward and you're not having a proper posture. Maybe your lower back is just taking a beating, but your legs are super strong, but your lower back is weak. You know, like there could be lots of imbalances that develop along the way. So the truth is there's no perfect training program. That's really what I'm getting to right now. There's the perfect training program in any one moment, which means that you have to make adjustments or make decisions based on what is happening in your body at that time, not just following the blueprint and then ignoring what's happening in your body, right? If you see your body develop a certain way and it's not necessarily balanced or bodybuilder-ish or in alignment with less injuries, then you know you need to make an adjustment, right? So sorry about all the shadowy footage from before, but I don't feel like stopping adjusting exposure. And hey, I'm uploading almost every single day, so that's why. And also the other thing is, I kind of like the pretty blues and everything in the background. So if I'm stuck in a shadow, I like the background. It looks nicer than the face. So hey, why not? Why not enjoy that? You just need my voice. You don't need to see my face. And I wouldn't blame you if you'd rather see the background. I'm on board with that. I adjusted the exposure now for those people that are more face talkers. They need to be in your face, right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So that's exactly it. It's not about who has the best program. It's not about who has the best program. So a lot of guys, when they start training, they think, oh, this is the best program, or that's the best program. They got all these different programs. And although some of the principles in those programs can be really the best principles, especially for you in your specific situation, know that adjustment is really more in alignment with truth. All right? And meaning muscle gains and gains period are going to be more in alignment with making the necessary adjustments as you go. It's not just blindly doing something. Now, at first, you're blind. At first, you got to do the blind approach. At first, you just got to try stuff and see what happens, right? You're in the beginning experimental stage. But as you go through these experimental stages, you're going to find that certain things do certain things to the body. So certain exercises will give a certain type of good pain or bad pain to the body, or give good results, or maybe not so much results, maybe just joint pain. One example would be some guys, if they do front raises, it just messes their shoulders up. But another person does front raises and they're like, oh, it's so great for my traps and my front delts, right? So you gotta mess around, find out what's right. Now, here's the other thing. The body will show you what you need to adjust. So it's kind of neat. It's like your body is actually your own individual personal trainer. And that's something that people don't really realize. They think that that somehow if they just do these exercises that magically the body just shows up in perfect condition, but they're not necessarily making adjustments based on what the body is showing them. So say if you did a bunch of squats and all you're doing is getting medialis development, like, you know, the quadricep right by the knee, but your vastus lateralis, your sweep of the leg isn't developing, your hamstrings aren't developing, your butt maybe is not developing, your lower back's not developing, but your medialis is developing, well, then you could pretty much look at your program and say, okay, what am I doing in my leg training? And now you know what's really hitting that part of the leg. So you were successful. You know how to hit that part of the leg. Now, how do you adjust things in order to basically hit other parts of the leg and then bring up more balance in your overall physique? So this is something that's underrated, because most people want the exact answer, but the exact answer doesn't really exist until you discover it for yourself. So there's a certain discovery process that goes on, and there's some general rules, but you have to discover also how you need to move as an individual in order to get the most results and the most balance in your physique. Now, I saw guys roam around the gym forever and they're totally rounded over, their shoulders are, you know, almost hanging by their their belly button, and they're doing bench presses and shoulder presses all day long. And of course they'd be doing the standard lat pull down back training, but of course they weren't really looking at how are they training. What is it they're doing? Like, for instance, when they're doing the lat pull downs, they're rounding the shoulders forward and, you know, rounding the lower back instead of leaning back and sticking that chest out a little bit. and engaging the back like I teach in this program. So if you haven't seen the secrets of training back, watch that video. That video talks about how to train back instead of just training your biceps and rear delts all the time and your internal rotator cuff when you're training back, because that's what most people do. So if you see your body developing where you're getting this rounded sort of thing, your posture's getting horrible, there's a chance that you're really not hitting the back, even though you think you're hitting the back. And that's the thing. So your body's showing you based on how it's developing, and also based on some of the imbalances that are showing up. It's actually showing you what you need to work on and what you need to adjust. So say you think you're working back, but you're really not. That means you need to adjust those exercises around, or experiment with new angles or new ways of doing things and see if you get those results you're looking for. So here's some more examples. If you're getting knee pain, perhaps you need to squat more off the hips than the knees. Sometimes it can be a flexibility issue with your hamstring. Maybe it's a flexibility issue with your glute, because if you're not arching the back properly, you're not keeping the tension on the hamstring, so then the hamstring's not pulling the knee tight into the joint and protecting the knee joint, and then you're getting knee pain because you're basically not keeping tension in that hamstring. The hamstring really does help protect the knee. So that could be an example of how you need to adjust technique in an exercise, right? Another one would be, say you're doing overhead presses and you're rounding your lower back because you saw online somebody said to flex your glutes and round that lower back, and then you're getting all sorts of lower back pain. Well, chances are you need to adjust that. You need to adjust the lower back into more of a natural arch position. Maybe not a hyper arch, but the natural arch that exists there in order to maintain the stability of the spine as you're doing those shoulder presses, those overhead presses, right? I'm going to include a few more examples of this. For years I squatted with a wide stance, and I was trying to squat low for me at the time, and I was getting absolutely no leg development, but my lower back was getting fatigued, and it was getting sore, and it was basically it felt like a lower back workout, honestly. And then as soon as I adjusted my technique to doing more the squatting form that you know today, my legs started growing like crazy and my lower back wasn't an issue. So that was an adjustment that I made on the fly. I didn't just read a magazine and say, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Oh, that's where my idea's coming from. It's more like I was like, okay, where am I feeling the tension? Where is this happening? What is going on with the body too? So I looked at, first of all, where's the tension? Where am I feeling the tension? Where am I feeling the failure? Where's the failure happening? That's number two. Where's the failure happening? And number three, I said, how is my body developing? And those three factors come into account. Those are the three factors that I take into account when I assess what I'm doing and what I should be doing and how to move forward. When it came to bicep curls, I noticed when I was doing biceps, like a lot of guys, they curl all the way up and then they rest at the bottom, then they curl all the way up and rest at the bottom. And I was, holy shit, the tension was in my shoulder. I was getting a burn in the shoulder joint. My biceps weren't really fatigued. My forearms were getting a little bit fatigued, but I wasn't necessarily hitting failure in the bicep. I didn't feel the tension in the bicep. And then I noticed that my biceps weren't really developing the way I thought they should. Now, when I did the incline curl, I noticed the tension and the failure was happening in the bicep. So here are the first two principles. And third, I noticed that my body started developing into the mountain peaks that you know today, right? So these are a couple really profound examples. This is so profound stuff. Again, you guys owe me about $20,000 each. I don't know how you're going to afford this. I recommend loan sharks. I think loan sharks is probably a good strategy in this case. So yeah, just send that to my PayPal address or whatever you want to do. naturalgallant@hotmail.com. So that's it. It's always an adjustment thing. So a lot of times when you're looking in these videos and you're looking around, like, find those pieces of information that might help you adjust your technique in a certain way. And I'm going to make videos about this, about adjusting techniques according to how you get pain. I'm going to make videos about this, and I have made a few videos. I made one on elbow pain, right? Like, if you have elbow pain, check that video out. It'll help you a lot. And it's ways of adjusting things or techniques just in case you have elbow pain, because there's just a couple different variables that you can investigate to see if that takes that tension off your elbows. So this is it. You start to learn the rules of the joints. You start to learn the rules according to your shoulders, your elbows, your knees, your back, whatever. And of course, these rules also change, which is really frustrating, because as you age, as you get injuries, as you get a history, like playing sports and stuff, like I did with my hockey stuff, then sometimes the rules that were normal before, or that were set in stone, all of a sudden become a little bit more negotiable, and you need to actually adjust again. So this is why I'm always pointing you towards the unchangeable truth, which is you in the center of all this, and then understanding that you're amidst a bunch of variables. And when you know that, when you know that's what's happening, then you don't get quite so fanatical about one way or the other, instead of just what's working in this moment, what's happening in your body in this moment. So I hope this helps you out with your training. Thanks a lot for tuning in. If you need to get hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com and share my stuff, man. Share my stuff. And yeah, thanks a lot to the Patreon supporters. These guys are great. I mean, thanks guys. I feel like the Brady Bunch there when I do that. It's like the Brady Bunch. Here's a story of a man named Jason, and he looked at the mountain all the time.